bottom line.
Welcome to the Payments Podcast. I'm your host, Bottom Line Managing Editor, Owen McDonald. Today, we're delving into the future of receivables automation, managing customer information, and examining why B2B direct debit is becoming a game changer. With me is a friend of the Payments Podcast, Luke Sculthorp, Head of Strategic Relationships for UK-based industry group, the Chartered Institute of Credit Management, or CICM. The CICM offers education, accreditation, and more to credit professionals. It fulfills a vital role, especially at a time of change in the credit sector. Luke Sculthorp of the Chartered Institute of Credit Management, welcome to the Payments Podcast.
Thank you for having me, Owen. Great to see you. Thank you.
I'm so glad you could be here. Thanks for joining us. Let's get right to it. We talk a great deal about how to pay and get paid on this podcast and in our blog. In this episode, we're dealing with the get paid component, particularly accounts receivable automation. Luke, give us a sense of what's developing in the AR function along those lines in the UK and elsewhere, if you've got some thoughts on that. What broad trends are you seeing in AR automation now?
Yeah, the future of receivables automation in the UK, we see it as incredibly promising. And what we're seeing, Owen, is significant strides both domestically and globally to that automation piece. To lean on McKinsey and Company, they put forward some forecasting. They talk about automation technologies having the potential to reduce the cost of collections by up to 40% by next year, so by 2025. And they say that these technologies can do that whilst enhancing overall efficiencies, effectiveness, and customer experience. Just to expand on that, so in the UK, we see businesses increasingly turning to AI. AI is detailed very, very frequently, but also machine learning. And that is really to streamline processes, streamline those main AR processes. And that means fewer manual tasks. It also means that we're driving to that objective of more accurate cash flow forecasting and overall improved efficiency. Globally, similar trends are playing out, certainly and especially in North America and Europe. And we're seeing predictive analytics and automated reminders are helping to really anticipate late payments and enable more proactive interventions. And additionally to that, cloud-based AR solutions, so collections platforms. There's a big choice. It's quite a crowded marketplace, but certainly very innovative. But they are becoming more popular in terms of being adopted. And what we're seeing is those systems providing real-time data access integrate seamlessly with your accounting, your finance system. So I think for me, Owen, it's threefold in terms of practical takeaways. So I would say from looking at UK and rest of the world, global trends, I would say if we firstly think about adoption to AI-powered tools, I'd say that by using AI-driven solutions, businesses can absolutely automate those mundane tasks. So like cash application or invoice processing, which allows teams to focus on those more strategic activities or collect that cash. Okay. The other one I think would be leveraging predictive analytics. So those predictive tools can help companies anticipate customer payment behavior and take those proactive steps to minimize late payments or the cause of. And then the third one would be those cloud-based AR systems. So these systems allow for those real-time updates. They are facilitating better decision-making, and they are integrating with those core finance systems. So you're getting a loop. They're the key ones for me, I think.
All right, and that's that's a lot. That's a lot of evolution happening, and of course that has a lot to do with managing customer information. That remains a critical function. But with regulations tightening, there's a delicate balancing act between gathering enough data to make informed credit decisions, but without exposing your company to unnecessary risk. So, Luke, how do you see banks and businesses navigating that challenge?
Customer information management and navigating all of that with that backdrop of more stringent regulations is definitely a challenge, Owen. It's a big challenge. To also sort of look at commentary out there. Ernst Young, the global leader in professional services, they put a lot of reports out there. And they've got a report that does focus just on that. So it focuses on data privacy laws. What we're seeing is we're seeing companies today, they're not just having to adhere to data protection regulations. So we've got the GDPR regulation in UK, which is also across into Europe, into the EU states. So they're not just having to focus on that. What companies are having to now focus on, and also to increasingly move towards a privacy first approach. So that's to ensure customer trust. So it's all about customer trust now. There's a lot of data breaches out there, a lot of high profile data breaches. We're becoming, as a society, as a consumer, we're becoming more and more aware of these breaches. Many companies are investing in technologies that are going to allow for secure data handling. And they're also utilizing alternative data sources to provide a broader view of creditworthiness. So, for instance, some firms are incorporating non-traditional data, social media, for instance, social media behavior, and industry specific information into their credit risk assessments. So that's providing a more rounded perspective without compromising data security. So I suppose, again, like we were talking about trends, the practical sort of focus here is probably threefold again. So when we think about prioritizing data encryption, implementing these measures can help protect customer information and ensure compliance with privacy laws. If we also think about exploring alternative data sources, so by expanding beyond traditional bureau credit data, companies can make more informed business decisions without relying too heavily on sensitive information. And then to conclude, regularly updating on regulation and compliance practices that helps companies stay ahead of the game, so that they're staying up to date with regulations and industry best practice, that they're reducing the risk of data breaches and ultimately they're going to be hopefully improving and maintaining that customer trust.
Right, and that ought to keep them out of trouble on as far as unnecessary risk is concerned. Moving on, direct debit has been a mainstay in B2C transactions for some years now, but we're hearing more about B2B direct debit becoming a go-to option for business payments. Why do you think that shift is happening now, Luke?
Yeah, direct debit is indeed becoming more prevalent in B2B space. So we do see that with a lot of our blue chip clients, are industry and commerce focused from a business base or customer base focus. So I suppose the one that springs to mind immediately, utilities, energy suppliers in UK. So they are absolutely using direct debit more and more and more. PwC, they've got a report out on payment innovations, and they talk about real-time payments are pushing businesses to consider direct debit as a reliable option for managing reoccurring payments. That's what we're doing, aren't we? We're making sure that we're getting reoccurring payments, especially because it brings stability to cash flow and minimalizes that late payment risk. So to build on that, the shift has been coming over time. It's been gathering momentum, but certain technological advancements in digital payments infrastructure have accelerated its adoption. Businesses are increasingly recognizing that B2B direct debit can reduce admin tasks, it can streamline payment collections, and it can provide more predictable cash flow. So, moreover, it also aligns well with the broader trend toward secure automated payment solutions.
Sure. Well, we're going to break the rule of three today, and we're going to ask you for 5 improvements a business can make to their inbound payment process. Which ones provide the most immediate impact in your experience?
5, okay. Yeah, I suppose we would start off with implementation of real-time payment tracking. So implementing that. So that's providing instant visibility into cash flow and allowing businesses to act quickly on any discrepancies. So that's the first one I would say. Offering multiple payment methods. So I've kind of alluded to it. So supporting customers, supporting companies, whereby we're giving various options. So we could have bank transfer, we could have card acceptance, we could have digital wallets. Business can really transact as easily as possible and with their preferences. Setup of self-serve. So I'm thinking payment portals. So these would allow your customer to, I don't know, view their whole list of invoices and make payments independently when they can. So that's quite key. That's giving back a bit of power to the customer, and it reduces on our side the admin. So there's less burden on that. I suppose the fourth, we could look at automation of invoice matching. So cash application, I'm thinking. By automating that process, I suppose businesses can reduce errors. That can be quite prevalent when you've got hundreds and hundreds of transactions and you're trying to wade through and there's one set of eyes and you're in a busy, maybe noisy environment. So automating that, taking that away from human error is key. And I think the fifth, when we think about credit risk, we'll have to get our credit risk hats on and we'll have to make sure that we've got everything right. I'm thinking of dynamic discounting. So enabling dynamic discounting. So offering discounts for early payment to your customer, to your supply chain. And that obviously can then, for us, it can encourage quicker payment and it can improve our liquidity level and our position. So I think they're 5 good ones. I can't think of any more, sorry, but we have bucked the trend there.
That was outstanding. Okay. We've covered a whole lot of ground today. Looking ahead, Luke, what's one trend or innovation that you think, just one, that you think is really going to reshape, redefine payments, receivables management in the next 5 to 10 years? You only get to pick one. It's a big ask, Luke. Maybe you can narrow it down.
Yeah, I think blockchain. That's what I'm thinking. The reshaping of the future of payments and receivables can absolutely be blockchain technology. And there's a lot talked about blockchain, and has it matured? Have we got there yet? It's probably a little bit like about AI in 5 years' time. But yeah, there's a lot of industry reports out there. PwC talk about blockchain and the future of finance. Sort of our opinion is, yeah, we think it can revolutionize AR, and really we think about reducing fraud. We think about speeding up transaction times, and also potentially enabling decentralized finance or DeFi. As more businesses adopt to blockchain, it's likely to become a backbone of AR processes. Okay, and it's going to provide real-time, secure, and transparent transactions that really can vastly improve payment cycles and reduce costs. So I think for me, it's for companies looking at blockchain. I think get informed about it, understand the basics, but start to enhance that knowledge base. Also consider maybe piloting a program. So think about, if blockchain is a fit for your company, how can we pilot a program? How can we ensure that we can understand and assess feasibility and impact? And I think to conclude, it's think long term. Blockchain, it may have a full impact in a number of years. So we don't know if it's going to be realized, but staying ahead of the curve, just like all of these other technologies, I think is vital, and it could provide a significant competitive advantage.
Well said. AR automation, credit risk management, the future of B2B direct debit, getting the most from inbound business payments. It's where credit management is headed, and some would say credit makes the world go around. My thanks to a terrific guest, Luke Sculthorp, Head of Strategic Relationships for UK-based industry group, the Chartered Institute of Credit Management. To our amazing audience, thanks for listening. Hit subscribe. Catch us again on your favorite podcast platforms, including Apple, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Bye for now.
The Payments Podcast from Bottom Line.